Well, everyone, welcome to World at War Comics. Very excited to talk to these two gentlemen from Rising Empire Studios. We got Ridge Kiley, we got AJ Light. Gentlemen, thanks for joining me, man. Thanks for the flexibility. A lot of people knew I had it up on my YouTube for last week, and work got in the way, so I appreciate your flexibility. But I think the timing's right because tomorrow's the big day, right?
Yep. Tomorrow's a big day, so this is better timed, I would say.
Yeah, I think it worked out, man. But I'm super excited to talk to you about this title. I have had an opportunity, obviously, the marketing that you both have done, or whoever's in charge of marketing for you all, I'm seeing it everywhere. So congratulations on that. We're seeing Mark in all of his interviews where he's kind of talking about the opportunity and the kind of difference for him, who's been in the industry for so long. Super exciting stuff. I was so excited about it that I actually downloaded the novel and started it earlier. So I cannot wait to kind of dig in. I have long drives to work and back, so I'll definitely be listening to it and waiting for the title to come out, because I love when there's like a novel and then something's based off of the novel and I could figure out where everyone kind of grabbed parts of that story and brought it together. But super excited to talk to you both about that. But before we jump into that, man, you both have some pretty unique backgrounds. I'm not even sure how all this happened with your background, man. So I thought maybe we could go back a little bit, talk about the current industry that you're in and how the hell that warped into trading cards, a novel, and then a comic book. Can we start at the beginning? Like, how did you two meet?
You want me to go or you want to go?
Go ahead.
We both were working for Cirque du Soleil in Las Vegas. I am still currently a head coach of acrobatics there at the show Mystère, which is a Treasure Island. But in the last 15 years, I've been a Cirque du Soleil coach. Before that, I was an acrobat and a director of some other circuses and college circuses. Mainly did trapeze, but I was a flyer, I was a catcher. I had people catch. I also used to stand on people's shoulders and catch people on my shoulders. But for the last 15 years, I've been with Cirque du Soleil in Vegas, and Ridge was he was the head of our strength and conditioning. So we were always working hand to hand. Whenever we would need someone acrobatically to accomplish something, a feat, I'd say, hey, this guy needs some more explosivity, or it could be toughened up, or this girl needs this or that. And so we'd always get together and plan out like what we can do to facilitate the best out of our top performers. And in the downtime, which there's a lot of downtime because you'll have a training on stage and then 15 or 20 minutes, they switch the set around. So sometimes you're, kind of hanging out. And we just started to nerd out about comics and Marvel movies and stuff like this. So then we started doing, because most of the time it's an evening gig. So you start at 2:00 in the afternoon, you go to 11. That was my hours. So we could do a quote unquote business lunch where we go and see a 10:30 movie matinee, usually Marvel. We talk about it all day. Then that's our thing. And so we're doing a business lunch, and so then that's how we became friends, and we ended up working. So Cirque du Soleil, at least in Vegas, they kind of bounced us around from different shows. So I started at Ka, and I was working with Chris Angel, Mind Freak, and then we were at Love, which was with the Beatles, and at O, which is a water show. And kind of just out of happenstance, every time they moved me, either a few weeks before or a few weeks later, they had moved Ridge too. So we were always kind of like a team moving back and forth. So when the pandemic hit, we were out of work. It was a ghost town here. And we thought, what are we going to do with our lives? And Ridge had a great idea about starting a company. At first it was going to be video games, but then reality set in, like you'll need $20 million, and we didn't have that. And but the impetus was, what do we want to do that we love just as much as live performance and athleticism, And his answer to that was like trading card games and video games and things like that. And mine was comics. And his chocolate and my peanut butter came together, and bam, and so we really sat around. He actually came up with the idea first of like what we didn't call it Alpha Clash. We didn't know what we were calling it. We had some other generic names that it was really funny. I don't remember now, but we bounced around like so many different names.
Yeah. Went through a lot of iterations.
Yeah.
But we literally met at his kitchen table, because not only did we work closely, but we lived a couple miles away from each other. So I go over there. He had just had your baby, didn't you?
Yeah. So when the pandemic was in full swing, we were, let's see, my firstborn was 6 months old. So yeah, I was full-time stay-at-home dad with the 6-month-old that wanted mom that was still working. And so, yeah, we had, our challenges with creating everything, but nonetheless, what, was kind of like this at first, like kind of boring, and then almost felt like hopeless at times. Like, are we ever going back to work? We just came up with this idea for this universe and just started working it out. And then next thing you know, we're like, hey, we're going for this. We're going to do graphic novel, then we're going to do trading card game. We're going to do novels. We're going to do comics. We're going to one day do a video game. We're going to, and just started putting everything on the whiteboard and like, what are our big goals? What can we achieve in the next, month, year, 2 years, 5 years, et cetera. And really just started game planning, because what we do well in the performance world, or, what I did, was planning, periodization. And do you have a goal that's 4 years from now? Well, how do we achieve that, using training methodology? And so we're just applying those same principles that may be scientific and athletic to the business world. And we're passionate about it because we love stories, good stories, comics, things that look cool, and so it really just started to flourish. Like, we just started to talk about it all the time. And, I'm sure my wife got over it originally, because that was all I wanted to talk about. And this is year 4 now. And so it's crazy that we've come this far with all of our different products, from the novel to the trading card game, but now a comic book series with Mark Waid. So pretty awesome. Just full circle moment.
Yeah, and that's for sure too a really good byproduct of working with a group like Cirque du Soleil. It's always a creative endeavor, but there's just so many diverse and crazy people that you're working with, and you have to kind of reach out across all kinds of lines to bring together to fulfill this vision. And that's where Ridge really excels at that, like reaching out to our artist community, and then finding printers and finding partners in all these different areas. And so getting all that to work, because it's been really a great venture.
That's incredible. So you did start with the trading cards, right? That's where it all began. And then were you already writing the novel at the same time, or did the novel come out of like the character development for the cards?
So the first thing that we released was actually a graphic novel.
Oh, really?
140-page graphic novel. And that was kind of our test of, is there an appetite for us to enter this space? One, in the comic book world, like, can we kind of navigate this and figure it out? And graphic novels, have its challenges if people don't know the IP, and it's, it's 140 pages. So it's not like a $4, comic book that you're buying at the store. And ultimately, because we did well on that, we then said, okay, let's greenlight this and let's go into the trading card game, because we knew that would probably be the flagship product for quite a while. And that helped us really gain our footing, kind of build stability, build infrastructure, and then start to make more projects. So the graphic novel is the first 1/3 of the novel, kind of expedited. And so we were writing the novel the whole time, but basically preparing for the moment to release it, as we started to build this universe. And so the graphic novel, then trading card game, and then quickly thereafter.
Nice. I mean, that's pretty incredible. All right. So then we get to the point where now it's going to become a comic book. A lot of writers out there. How do you get a Mark Waid to come and write with you, AJ, right? You're the co-writer on this.
Yeah.
How do you get a Mark Waid on a project like this, who's never done anything like this before? And he's pretty legendary when it comes to comics, specifically in DC. So I'm a big DC fan. He is kind of known as almost the librarian for everything DC. So he could tell you anything that's ever happened in the universe. He did go over to Marvel, but he belongs to DC, right? He's a DC guy. But to have him kind of be, I don't know if he would like that I said that, but I consider him a DC guy, man. He's written some amazing, still is writing amazing titles for DC. But how do you get a Mark Waid on a project like this? And how does it even begin? Did you already know him?
Okay. Here's another crazy part. We had some merchandise that we passed out, like hats and stuff. And I gave my dad a couple hats, and he gave it to one of his friends that he plays cards with. My dad's 79 years old. And we met a guy who says, Alpha Clash. I follow Alpha Clash on Instagram. You guys got a great product. And this guy's like, well, this is my friend's kid's business. So, and so he took a card, and this guy's name is Eric Calderon. We just followed up with him and said, hey, he was in the kind of in the entertainment business too. So we just, wrote, say, hey, yeah, we heard you were a fan, and et cetera, et cetera. So we began to talk there. He goes, I got a friend, Mark Waid. And I go, Mark Waid? Like, you mean the guy who wrote The Flash in the 1990s? And, blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. And, because he also did, I know, he did everything DC, but he also,
man, he's done everything.
Captain America,
which is one of the best Superman titles ever.
I have it like right on my shelf right over here. And so so he goes, yeah, that's the guy. And so he goes, well, so we sent a book out and some of our product out, and just, and then Mark kind of read the book, and he liked it, and he thought it was really cool. And then we just started talking, and I'm nutshelling it, putting it, condensing this, but in essence, he liked us. We got to meet him over the phone, and then we kind of talked about a partnership, and that was in the works for a while. And then we just started pitching each other like ideas about characters and things. And I said, hey, I got an idea. And do you think you've ever heard of a person with these kind of powers or this kind of powers? And he's like, no, actually, that was kind of cool. And then we would just kind of go back and forth. And then that's how we came up with this one. So getting to Rising Empires, which is the name of this story arc, Alpha Clash, Rising Empires, it takes place 5 years after the book that you're listening to right now.
After the events at CERN, this is 5 years later?
Yes. Oh. Yeah. So actually the book ends, I'll just give you a geography. It ends in New York City. So after the event of New York City, about 5 years later, we kind of just pick up. And we did that on purpose because there's a lot of filler, and there's going to be some other timeline issues that will pop in and fill in some other stuff, maybe like a book too, but second novel. But here we are, we're in a world that is still coming to grips with the burgeoning superpowered population. These people that start popping up all over the place with powers. They feel instinct to be drawn towards each other and battle, and they lose a little rationale when they're doing that. So now we've kind of been 5 years after this, where the world has started to adjust a little bit to what's going on, and we just kind of pick up our heroes. And there's a few heroes that are completely brand new to the universe, and there's one or two that are throwbacks to the novel. So if you're a new reader, you can just pick up the comic books, and just go, okay, this is cool. And you don't need to know the backstory really. But if you are a fan and you've been with us since the beginning, you can read the book or listen to the book, and then you'll know, oh, I remember this guy, and I remember that guy. And that dude was a cameo, but now he's a main star. And that's kind of where we're going with it.
I love it, man. So Mark, I think what we were talking before we hit record, and you gave me a little, I feel like I know your dad now. I feel like he should be allowed to eat as much popcorn as he wants. I feel like he was very crucial to this hat getting into the right hands, that it could get to Mark Waid. So I feel like that's I don't know. Let Dad have as much Diet Coke and popcorn as he wants, man.
Yeah, that guy. He'll make it. He'll make it up. You ever see him? He hasn't met a Diet Coke or a bag of popcorn he hasn't liked. And he's
Yeah. I love it, man. I love it. Well, that's incredible, man. Again, I only listened to like 20 minutes of it because I downloaded it today because I was obviously doing some search and I saw, wait, there's a novel? What, there's trading cards? So I started digging in a little bit and I downloaded the novel and I was able to listen the first 20 minutes or so. So I would encourage everybody to either pick up the title or go on Audible and you could purchase it there, which I did. So I can't wait to read it because I do love that feeling of reading a novel, especially when it's been brought into, graphic novel or comics, and then be able to have that background to see what was pulled out and what didn't and the reasons why. And then it sounds like in this title with where you're beginning 5 years later, there's going to be a lot of flashbacks to give everybody perspective as to why people all have powers and all that.
There are more flashbacks that are more of the personal development sort of, because our powers are, even though we don't really come out and hit you over the head with it, these powers are kind of developed through the person's personality and or lifestyle, how they were growing up, And so we got one guy, his name is Brick. He's kind of he was a construction guy. He is old. He's actually when he was awakened, it's just part of the novel, it's called The Awakening. Yeah. When he was awakened to power, he was 77 years old. He's already in the old folks home. He'd already been through Vietnam. He'd already been through a marriage and worked in the construction for 35 years and retired. And now he's in the, I think it's called the Sunset Homes in Brooklyn, Now he's got these, powers. He's indestructible just from here down. He has great grip. He's pretty tough everywhere else, but he still has those 82-year-old sensibilities. Like his partner gives him a mask with a Bluetooth thing in it, and he can never get it to work. This damn thing. And so, you kids don't even know what it's like nowadays. And, and so he brings like real grit back to the thing. But he's Brick because he's Brick Morales. That's his name. And then there's another guy. His name's his code name's Huff. He's a paramedic, and he got trapped underwater in flooding waters. And at the same time, this wave hit him of energy, and so he developed powers and held his breath. He needed that at that time, so he went and he held his breath for a long time. Unfortunately, his daughter couldn't hold her breath, so he lost her. And so now his motivation is to be a hero. And when he sees things, he wants to act on someone else's behalf. And that's part of his character makeup, And so those are the flashbacks that kind of make up the characters as we move along. And there'll be some bigger ones. And there will be an explanation out there because we have a guy named Dr. Summers, and he's our main character actually also, but he did a cameo in the book. No, until you see him at the end, but he's a very intellectual guy, and he starts to figure out in our storyline with Rising Empires what's going on. There's a trend they find very disturbing with the alphas that are in the world now. So he goes and investigates that puts a target on him, and then he's thrust into this world it's a mixture of and we do this in the book on purpose. We're doing this with our card game, and we're going to be doing this with a series of comics. We match up all the genres. We have there are some chapters in the book that could be considered horror chapters. There are some chapters in the book that can be considered espionage or thriller, and then there's straight up superhero fighting, and then there's sci-fi stuff with robots and cybernetics things, and so. We just take all the things that we like and just mash them together. And so that's where we're going with this story too. So it's just one thing. And
what I can say is what's really cool about The Awakening versus Rising Empires is The Awakening is kind of this like very big world building universal plot. And there's something bigger outside the world that's affecting the world. And it affects the story at large, kind of like Avengers level. What's cool about Rising Empires is it brings it back down to almost like friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, where it takes place more locally, has a global impact, but feels much more grounded. And it's really refreshing in that way. I love what we've done with The Awakening, but to bring it back down to almost the street level where we're really getting into the nitty gritty of the characters, there's less overall characters, but you care a lot about them and what they're doing and how it all ties together and how it ties together with the novel and this in really creative ways. And so myself, I've been able to sit back and be more of a fan. I was more of a part of the creative process with The Awakening in the Alpha Clash as a universe and the building, but I've let AJ and Mark just do their thing because, they're the creatives, and it's been awesome just to sit back and really just be like project manager and just be a fan and, take it in, and the art's coming in and I'm getting the scripts ahead of time and just seeing it all come together. It's really, really cool and unique what they've done with the characters and the story and how it's all tying together.
I love it, man. Well, I thought maybe what we could do is, again, there's not a ton to see, but let me pull up the Kickstarter if that's okay. Let's look at the cover page right here.
Sure.
And I think you made an announcement earlier, right? I believe this starts pretty quick, right?
Tomorrow,
yep. Right?
So we are going to go live Tuesday, January 20th. So if you're not watching this live, you're watching it later. Tuesday, January 20th. At 8 a.m. Pacific, which is 11 a.m. Eastern. So we're going to go live. Those first 3 days and really the first 24 hours of a campaign are really, really important. So if you're on the fence, make sure that you hop in, you back it, because what's great about the more success you have early on in a Kickstarter campaign, the more organic growth you're going to get on Kickstarter's page, the more people are going to see it, and you can really create a snowball effect. So make sure that right when we launch, you guys are ready to go. We have tons of different tiers. They're not public on the preview page right now, but as soon as we hit live, all those things will be live. And there's going to be so many different tiers, from a $10 digital version where, if you're around the world or you just like digital comics, that's a nice, easy entry point, all the way up to super collector versions where you get, signed and graded comic books from AJ and Mark. You get a one-on-one meeting. You get artwork commissioned by our art team. That's the super collector, but then there's everything in between too. So if you don't have this huge budget, but you also want to collect, there are Kickstarter exclusives. And that's another thing that's great about Kickstarter, is it really does reward the early adopter. So this Kickstarter campaign will have a lot of exclusive content on there, especially variant covers. And we are talking about comics. There are 12 covers in totality. But 8 of those are Kickstarter exclusive. You cannot get those outside of that. So we have just such a killer art team, which the art team is on the page. You'll be able to see who they are in the covers and everyone that worked on those. And man, I could go on and on. But, just about the Kickstarter campaign, make sure that you follow the page so you're ready. If you haven't done it yet, there is a VIP page. And so just for $1, you get all these cool rewards, and it's risingempires.alphaclashtcg.com. That is the VIP page. So just for $1, when you back the campaign, you get, I think it's the digital ash can. You get to see the first 5 pages of the first issue before anyone else. You get XP with one of our partners called XP Network, which is like you can redeem credits essentially on our store with XP. And so there's so many benefits that just outpace the $1. So if you're going to back it, don't miss out on the VIP either.
And what is that link one more time?
risingempires.alphaclashtcg.com.
All right, I'm going to try and go there. Let's see if I can get it. risingempires.alphaclash.tcg.com, right?
Just alphaclashtcg.com.
That's why it didn't work. That's cool, man. I'll definitely be doing that myself.
Yeah, it's such a great offer, and we've done it. This is our 6th Kickstarter campaign. We've done a VIP on, I think, all of them now. And it's just a really great way to reward people that, you know, if you're on the fence, or if you know you're going to back it, like the VIP is a no-brainer.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you already know you're going to do it, you might as well. Here it is. So I'll put the link in the chat as well. That way you have the link for the Kickstarter for tomorrow, but head over to this link now. Spend $1 if you're already going to back it, and then get some goodies with it. Why not? I mean, that's a no-brainer to me.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
And Ridge has really excelled, and our other team members really excelled at building a really great Kickstarter page and really great Kickstarter campaigns. And they're really smooth. We fulfill pretty nicely as well. So we don't, I can tell you, most of our stuff is already done. So it's not about waiting around until we go, oh my gosh, we raised this money. When do you think Mark and I start writing?
Yeah.
One thing that we do well, when we go to Kickstarter, we're already working on, and most of the time we are done with whatever the project is, so that when the Kickstarter wraps up, we go to production pretty quickly. And so we are, all the scripts are done for this Kickstarter. We're working on the issues. By the time the campaign ends and our pledge manager opens and closes, we're going to be very close to being done. And so we'll be able to go to production pretty quick. We've got a pretty efficient team. So
that's incredible. Well, the art looks absolutely amazing. Who is your artist for the art, the internal art? Has that been announced?
Yeah. So our artist that does pencils and inks, his name is Patty Grimm. And I feel that he is just a hidden gem in the comic world, the art world. He is absolutely incredible. His action, he's got tons of dynamism. He just has expressions on faces. It's just the art quality is obviously art is subjective, but it really is just great quality art. And then we have Steve Cannon on colors. And then we have Quinn Johnson on letters. And then we have just a number of cover artists that have worked on many different things, from Clayton Henry to Joey Vasquez, Dominic Glover, Igor Teixeira. Combined, they've all worked on Marvel and Rippaverse, Boom, and DC, and a number of.
I know Igor. Okay. Sure, yeah, with Rippaverse. That's incredible. I mean, the art looks incredible, super dynamic. The action, this is dope, man.
He's so good at action. But even in the still shots, if someone's just standing there, somehow he puts in motion, even in a still. There's something exciting about it, And he did some work with us too on another series, which we do have another comic series out called Cosmic Conquest, and that actually takes place. We jump time a lot in this. That takes place 100,000 years before the novel that you're listening to. But there are some motivations there. There's a story that gives you why a main character in the novel has the motivations that she does, and her backstory. So then it's kind of like you can start there. A standalone, it's a nice story. Standalone, the novel's nice. But if you start to really kind of follow everything along, I think you'll really enjoy it. It's starting to really kind of round out.
Will that title be available as an add-on on the Kickstarter?
Yes. So in the campaign, we have a comic bundle that you can get the first 3 issues of Cosmic Conquest and 1 issue of Torque Therapy, which are, again, just all connected to the same story, the same universe. And that'll be just a 4-issue bundle that you can get as an add-on.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
That is so cool. I mean, the universe that you guys are creating just sounds incredible. And to have Mark Waid part of this whole process, the king of comics over at DC, I think that's pretty freaking phenomenal. Just as a reminder, everyone, I just put the link, this link right here, use first. Go over there, spend $1 if you're already going to back it. That way you are for sure going to get some really nice goodies. When you do go to this link, which is the second link you want to go to tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Central. That way you could back it. And then obviously all those goodies will be tied to the email that you're using when you go to Kickstarter. So make sure that you use these 2 links. Number 1, only $1. You're going to back it anyway, so spend your buck. And then head over here and make sure that you pick up, whatever portion of the campaign that fits your budget. But a really easy way to get some extras as fans and collectors, which we all are super giddy about anyways. You get me with that every single time, man. So whoever does that, I'm a sucker for that, man. Why not?
Yeah, there's so many just great collector items. And I think that this campaign is going to create a lot of new Alpha Clash fans, people that have never been involved with the universe at all. It's really great that our Alpha Clash fans are going to be jumping in, but it's a really great entry point for anyone that doesn't know anything about it. But the collectibles are pretty special. And there's even like I think one thing that should hit pretty well with the collector base is that we're going to have a premium slipcase box set that will give you all 12 covers. Just right there comes in this really nice slipcase. That's going to be at the $99 tier. And so it's that perfect amount of collectability. And then anyone that just wants more from it, if you want, we'll have miniatures, we'll have promo cards, we'll have enamel pins, we'll have cool things like a coffee table book. We'll have, what is it called? The margin, the author's margin edition, where there's going to be little notes next to panels and things. And, AJ and Mark are going to share their thoughts of, oh, this almost didn't make it into the story, or we changed this scene, or what have you. And so you're going to get some kind of behind the scenes thoughts and things like that. But there's so many cool things. And so it really just depends, like, how do you want to jump in?
Yeah, that's so cool, guys. That's phenomenal. Well, congratulations. I mean, you have 713 followers right now. The average like successful Kickstarter, especially from an indie side, right? It's about 100, 150. So, obviously you've been doing this a while and you have already a base that you've built around Alpha Clash. Adding Mark Waid to that probably brings a little bit more. So
yeah,
I feel like easily you should be at 800 by tomorrow, I would think. I mean, why not, right?
Yeah, that'd be fun. I can say that as we get closer and closer, we are seeing VIPs jumping more and more behind the scenes, and VIPs are outpacing page followers for sure.
Nice.
So that's pretty cool to see.
That is awesome. I mean, well, congratulations, guys. I know it hasn't started yet, and you don't want to count your chickens before the eggs hatch, but I feel like you have a lot of eggs. So congratulations there, man. We'll see how many hatch. But
yeah, thank you. No, it's going to be fun. It really is just a great story, great artwork. AJ and Mark have poured their heart and soul into this just to make it, just as good as it can be. And I think people are going to be very pleased with the finished product.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, to make it clear for fans, this is issues 1 through 4. So it's the full arc, right, that they're getting?
Yep. So this will be 1 through 4. There are opportunities that we could extend this or, add more to it down the road, but it will be a nice, good series just in and of itself from 1 through 4.
Yeah. Yeah. If this one does well, there's a possibility of another arc that would tie into this,
Yep.
And that's the one thing that's really cool about having our own universe. We can kind of make our own rules up, I guess.
Yeah.
But, like, at least now we feel the comics will come out and there'll be its own story arc, and they're kind of independent, but then they are kind of linked. So they could be like, you could read Torque Therapy. Torque Therapy is going to relate directly back to the book as well, but maybe some characters from Torque Therapy might be in this one, or maybe, et cetera, et cetera. There'll be a lot of crossover in that way, and hopefully we'll build a nice interweaving thing. Yeah,
that's cool. And was Torque? What is it called?
Torque Therapy. Torque is a
Kickstarter too.
He's a
Yeah, we did kickstart that originally. Nice. Yes. That was, what do you think, Hal? 2 years ago we did Torque Therapy, just about a year and a half ago.
About that, yeah.
Yeah.
And it was pretty successful too. I had a good 35K on that one, I think. So I'm estimating, but yeah.
And that was just a single issue, just on that one. And so, yeah, we really wanted to step it up. And so anyone that's curious, you're like, oh, I'm hearing all this terminology. I don't know much about Alpha Clash. Essentially, The Awakening is the novel. That is modern day story. This is what happens with, the protagonist. Immediately after the novel is torque therapy. Like within days, if not a week, torque therapy is happening. The prequel story is 100,000 years in the past that ties in the whole grand scheme of things. Like, what the heck is going on? And how is the protagonist tied into the modern day story? And how does it link to her past? Because you find out during the novel, she had a different past than what most people would think. And so it dives into her past. And Rising Empires is going to take us 5 years into the future to kind of show a world that's kind of dealing with the remnants of these alpha clashes.
Yeah. I love it, man. Well, that's pretty phenomenal, guys. I can't wait to get my hands on it. I'll definitely be backing after I spend my dollar, because I want to do this the right way. I don't want to lose out on anything, man. I want my freebies, man.
Absolutely.
That's awesome,
Mark, because he's been a fantastic mentor and collaborator. Like the guy, as you said before, he's such an authority on comics, but he's really a true craftsman when it comes to storytelling, and especially in this visual medium. And it's just been really excellent to sit down and have lunch with the guy and talk about stuff and nerd out on a lot of different things. And he's been incredibly generous. He's a very, very nice guy, very down to earth guy, and he's very true to his fans. Did you ever get a chance to meet him in person?
Not yet. I live in Texas. I know he does a lot of appearances out in the LA area. I used to live in Southern California, but I moved for work. But yeah, I would love to. I'll get him at a con here eventually. I usually go to San Diego, and he's there once in a while. So hopefully I get to bump into him. But his lines are pretty long, so hopefully I'll be able to withstand the wait.
Yeah, we had him at our booth in Comic-Con, and it was sort of like not really a secret, but it wasn't like super official either. So like we had a good amount of people show up, but it wasn't like mobs. And It was great because he took every time he needed with every fan, there wasn't like, hey, come on, kid, you're bothering me, get out of here. He was like, no, man. He talked to the 12-year-olds in the Superman outfits that showed him his sketchbook, and he talked to the 30-year-olds that loved the Batman and Robin Year One, and then he talked to the 50 and 60-year-olds who were like, oh, I found this Daredevil 3 rows over. Could you sign it, please? And it was great, and it was a very nice. That was just fun to watch. But then the two of us were signing our Alpha Clash stuff together, but mostly people were there for Mark, which was great.
No, it's incredible. I mean, all the interviews I've ever watched, and obviously I've read him for a long time, and to be in the industry as long as he has at such a high level, I mean, that's pretty impressive. And I don't know, as a DC guy, again, I love Marvel. It's not one or the other, but DC's my favorite. I've been reading him, Jeff Johns. I mean, a lot of these guys for a long time, and they're the reason why I love comic books, man. Those stories. Not everybody's great at telling stories, and when you get a guy like Mark who's very consistent, mainly because he has such a passion for those characters. He really knows who they are, and he tries to really stay true to who they are. And as an older fan, older guys don't like a whole lot of change. I love that about him, because I know I'm going to go into a Flash series and Wally's going to be Wally or Barry's going to be Barry. And I don't have to worry about mega changes within the Prime universe. That's what Absolute's for. Do all the crazy stuff in Absolute. I love that. You could go hog wild, but when you're messing with Batman, I know who Batman is. Don't make Batman do things that Batman wouldn't do. And so Mark, I love, because he understands that. He respects it. And I think that's why he's such a fan favorite.
Yeah, and he still has the ability to stay relevant. Like he's not, not a flat. Like some guys can write and then they definitely have a shelf life. He's been able to stay relevant for 4 decades, which is incredible.
Agree. No, he's already kind of gone over that hump. I think in his career, he's been super consistent through the whole thing. And I mean, congratulations on having a partner like that. Sounds like you guys already were off to an amazing start with the whole series up until this point. I think this is just going to help catapult it into another level, at least in the comic book world for sure, because obviously Mark is pretty well known.
Yeah, no, for sure, for sure. And just even the lessons we learned, I feel, and I hope I'm not over speaking with Mark, but like he's such a down to earth guy too. Like, you know, even when our project and our working relationship ends, I'm sure, like, you know, I could call him up and go, hey, what do you think about this? And he'd give you some great advice and something else too, you know. But yeah, the guy is super, super fun.
Now, as far as the cards, is there going to be more cards offered here too? Do you have like a series 2 or series? I don't know what series you're on right now. I missed the whole thing, but I know cards are on fire right now. And with the world that you're building with all these different, you know, 100,000 years before, 5 years ahead, the main novel in between, I feel like there's an opportunity probably to come back with more cards to add to that game so that people could stay relevant with the game, up to date with some of the stuff that you're doing in Alpha Clash. Am I preaching to the choir here? Is that already something that's happening, or what's going on with that?
Yeah, absolutely. So the trading card game released worldwide about 2.5 years ago. We did Kickstart it just over 3 years ago. And, you know, we're coming up on booster set number 7.
Oh, wow.
So we've been pretty, ironically, I have, you know, this is our 7th booster set.
That's crazy, guys.
It's got this like Egyptian looking, you know, god, you know, Alpha from the Cosmic Conquest series. And it really is themed on the cosmic block is what we call it. And so that 8-issue arc. Now, what's cool about what we've done is we've meshed the comic books and the trading card game. So before, they were just their own entity, and we would do art for the trading card game, and then we would do art for the comics. And then we started to do promo cards. We're like, oh, we'll take some comic art and put it on it. Well, that was a big hit.
Yeah.
And then we were like, well, why don't we just marry the two of those things together? No one else is doing it. And so now all of our comic books are in the cards. And so you see the comic. So you're basically getting storytelling on the cards and, you know, some cool artwork, and it's comic themed and all that. But we now have a top down approach where the story leads what we design on the trading cards, not the trading cards dictate what we're going to tell in the story. And so in the campaign, there's going to be 3 different promo cards that people can get. 2 of them are tier exclusive, so you get them at a certain tier. They are extremely good cards. So if people play the game, they would want those cards. If they don't play and they just want cool looking collectible cards, they're very collectible. And then there's going to be 1 add-on that you can just buy. And those are going to be awesome. But knowing us, the Rising Empires comic series is going to be put onto trading cards in the future for sure.
That's awesome, man. Bring it all together.
Yeah, it was really fun, and Rich does, and he's very good at the game mechanics. He and his brother, so they gamify all the powers. You know, so if you like a particular character, you can see that play out in the cards. Yeah. And then there's the scenes from the book, some scenes from the book, you know, a lot of the scenes from the comics are all in the cards. So you can, if you read the book and you go, oh my gosh, this is when they were chasing that guy through Chicago. That's cool. Or, oh, this is from, you know, when the dwarves were doing this thing, and you go, okay. And then it all, you know, blends together, because Cosmic Conquest actually has a lot of things like elves and dwarves and other things that are all over different planets. And so it all kind of blends together and gives us that thing. And really, when you look at it from one of the storytelling elements that I liked to put forward was all this stuff that we're experiencing on Earth, we've already experienced before, we just don't know it. So there are elves, there are things that go bump in the night, there are these things, but we don't know. Our humans, as we've been, they're just the leftovers from a previous Alpha Clash. And so that kind of gets out in the book, and you'll see it. So if there are goblins, well, they were these genetic outcasts called the Guard. They would raid that village over there. The people that told about it just didn't know what to call them, so they called them goblins. And then it just went on and on and on. So that's how legend and ruins and all this other stuff on Earth start. But this has been going on. It's kind of like the last to get in on the joke here. Everyone else has been doing this for millennia. Now you guys are catching up. What's going on Earth, and so that's what's happening.
I love it, man. That's such a crazy, amazing universe that you guys have created, man. Congratulations on all your success up to this point. Sounds like this is going to be a banger. I'll be definitely watching. As soon as I get the title, man, I would love to have you guys back so we could kind of dig into the actual title. By that time, I should be done with the novel, so I'll be able to hopefully I'm having that kind of an experience as I'm reading Alpha Clash, but it would be amazing to have you guys back. Actually, Rising Empires. Make sure I say that because that's the specific art we're talking about. But it'd be awesome to have you guys back so we could talk about the actual title and what's next and all that good stuff, man.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be an awesome moment because we've been working on this for about a year now. And by the time you get in your hands, we'll have been working on it for a year and a half, 2 years. And it'll be something special just to get this series in our hands, be able to read it. Like it's come to life. So yeah, it's been a pretty cool journey, and it's coming. We're working on it. We're going to bust it out so everyone gets it as fast as possible.
That's awesome, man. Well, one more time, I'm going to let everyone know, use this link first, get over there, spend your $, sign up. Use that same email address when you go over to Kickstarter. So use your Kickstarter email address because I assume that's how it ties the $. And then when you back on Kickstarter, there's a lot of really cool goodies that you're going to get when you go to that first one. And here's the Kickstarter link. It's also, I'll make sure these are both in the notes. So if you are watching this later, you might be a little late on the $, but at least the Kickstarter link will be down there. Make sure that you could get that. And it sounds like this is going to be pretty fun, guys.
Yeah. It's going to be a great campaign. We're definitely coming back to talk all things Rising Empires once we have it in hand.
I would love that, man.
Look back on this conversation. And
Yeah.
And
we have some great actors that really did a great job with that one too.
Yeah, I would love to. The way that you're all building this out, I think an animated series is where it's at after this, man. You see what Invincible's done. They're kind of working backwards what you've already created, right? So now cards have come out and the game has come out. And so they're kind of catching up to where you guys are already at. But, man, this thing, I don't know. I feel like, I have only read like 20 minutes of the novel, but I'm getting like Mortal Kombat vibes. I'm getting like all kinds of cool stuff going on in the background as all these people start to get these abilities and really want to go after one another, and then to jump into Rising Empires to see how that all plays out a little bit later. You got me hooked, man.
Awesome. Great, man. Welcome aboard. You're on for the ride.
Well, AJ, Ridge, man, thanks for hanging out with me tonight. Everyone, I'll put the links below. Go check it out. I think this one is going to explode, and you definitely want to be part of it early. Get in those first few days and make sure that you back early. Let's get this thing going and moving pretty quickly right off the bat, man. Gentlemen, hang tight with me. Everybody in the chat, thanks for hanging out with me tonight. Have a great rest of your week, and we'll talk soon. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.